If you look at a map, Chinese geography is quite unfavorable to Beijing. They are surrounded to the east by U.S. security architecture, longstanding U.S. bases there. To the south, India is a rival. I mean, in Russia is not very reliable, I would say, to the north, and now is incredibly weakened. And to the west, you have Afghanistan and Central Asia, and so China is actually quite hemmed in if you look at it that way. And the Malacca Strait is a source of vulnerability. They import 80% of their seaborne oil via that route, and so they look at that as with some consternation that a foreign blockade could really disrupt their access to really critical energy supplies. And so in their strategic thinking, they're attempting to bypass this issue by pursuing routes through Myanmar, Pakistan, and attempting to a pipeline with Russia, right? And how we can keep that alive and add some deterrence in the Chinese strategic calculus on, say, Taiwan, is making sure that none of these countries that China is working with fully side with the Chinese. Keeping them in a neutral stance would be very helpful. There's been some work recently talking about these ports that China's attempting to procure for the potentially of dual use implications. But in the event of a war, let's look at the Sri Lanka example. Hambantota, is a Chinese company, now has it. But in a war, is Sri Lanka really going to be siding with China and allowing them free access to this, if at the risk of completely, throwing relations with India and the United States out the table? I wouldn't think so. And the key is to keep that there, is to keep engaging with Sri Lanka and provide them some alternatives economically, politically, etc., in order to keep China from having them as an ally. Because really, China has no allies right now. They have only partners. And if you look at the partners, none of them are overly, stable or reliable countries. And so I think that's an advantage that the U.S. and its coalition broadly have against China, and I think we should keep it.